And would it be fair to say then that, because I mean, when I used to hear the term impingement, it was like, okay, well, something's being nipped. And in order to address that's the reason it hurts. And in order to address the problem, we need to stop nipping, whether it's the bursa or the tendon or the whatever we think it is. Are you saying that it's not the nipping that's causing the problem? Or are you saying the nipping is happening, but it's not the reason it hurts? Or are you saying that it's just something that doesn't happen at all, that happens, that's normal? And do you know what I mean? Like, so.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So no, it's a great question. I think if you look at dynamic ultrasound studies, if you look at all sorts of posh imaging modalities, and even putting a camera in somebody's shoulder, many of the different types of impingement are described just happen as a normal part of movement and don't cause pain. Yeah, just in terms of what we're doing every day and where we're moving, that system is very robust. I think what it's saying really is that it's not about the shape of your bone. It's, we know we've had studies looking at operating on people with what's been given a diagnosis of impingement. They've shaved off the bone, but then they've done another group with the same diagnosis and just put a camera in and taken it out and not done the surgery, and the outcomes are the same. So what we understand is it's not about the structure. Yeah, it's more about the muscle system, but also acknowledging all those other things I talked about that can influence pain. So if you like, it's quite interesting, because I mean, certainly when I started in my career, we were very confident it was impingement. I'd just get your scapular muscles doing their job and life would be groovy. But it's just made us think a little bit differently. So of course we're going to target the muscle system, but I think for patients, what's really important to know is it's not about a little bit of bone poking in your muscles. If your muscles are doing their job well and have the capacity to do what you want to do with your arms, then actually those things are fine.
Yeah, that was certainly a shift for me a few years ago, because I was sort of working under okay, if the shoulder's hurting when they're swimming, it's impinging. I need to find a way of getting them to move where it doesn't impinge to get rid of the pain. But it sounds like what you're saying is that it's not that you need to find a way of moving that doesn't cause impingement. Well, I guess that's a good place to say, like, what would you do with this person? What would be a good approach to try and help them with this shoulder pain?
Yeah, so I think what you've said there, I think in terms of symptom modification, I kind of don't have an issue with that, and it definitely figures. So basically doing something that changes how it feels. So let's say he can reproduce his pain putting his arm above his head. I kind of don't have a problem using symptom modification, because it can be a nice way of getting somebody moving and just changing what their muscle system's doing. But what it also tells me is I potentially need to just load that particular tendon, because if it's about fluid in that tendon, I want to exercise because that will reduce fluid. I want to load and get that tendon more healthy because that will reduce fluid and the space that tendon's taking up. But fundamentally, it's also going to be about educating the person about their training load. So I think, in terms of my treatment, I think there's definitely evidence that if we target the rotator cuff and the scapular muscles and thoracic rotation in swimmers, it seems to give us good value. If we do good warm-ups for not too long before we go in the water, it seems to have some preventative and supportive effect. But yeah, the exercises I do are probably quite simple. But again, things like posterior shoulder endurance, again, we have some nice research showing that probably has some relevance. But I guess for me with this guy, and he's had it quite a while, is it's all about training load, and it's all about fatigue, and it's all about recovery. So I can build in some more capacity by targeting those other things that I've talked about, but always on the background of educating him about his training load.